Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Judy and Rob Calhoun is a 10-year veteran of the department. He faces 15 to 45 years in prison if convicted. Now, a judge did grant him a $200,000 bond. His police powers have been stripped, and he will have to turn over any firearms he possesses as a condition of bond as his case moves forward. Facing a judge for the first time since his arrest on aggravated criminal sexual assault and official misconduct charges, 46-year-old CPD officer Carlisle Calhoun listened as prosecutors read out the timeline of his alleged actions. Calhoun is accused of sexually assaulting a man in his custody at St. Bernard's Hospital on February the 3rd.
The victim lay on the hospital bed, and the victim's left hand and left foot were each handcuffed to the hospital bed.
According to prosecutors, the victim, who had been arrested on a misdemeanor charge, was being held at District 6 when he made suicidal statements. Calhoun and another officer were tasked with taking him to St. Bernard for a psychiatric evaluation. Once there, the second officer left to get food, and that's when prosecutors say Calhoun performed sexual acts on the victim without his consent. Once in the hospital room and the second time in a bathroom down the hall, taking graphic pictures on his personal cell phone on both occasions.
The victim repeatedly asked the defendant to stop and tried to convince him that his misbehavior would be discovered.
The victim reported the abuse to hospital staff shortly after it happened. Prosecutors say a DNA test and a search of Calhoun's cell phone corroborated the victim's story. Calhoun's attorney left the courthouse without comment today. Now, a spokesperson for CPD says that his police powers were stripped and he was placed on desk duty shortly after the incident was reported. Now that he has been charged, the department will be moving to suspend him without pay.
Cop arrested for raping a mentally ill man who was chained to a hospital bed. A Chicago police officer has been arrested on multiple charges after he was caught raping a mentally ill man who was chained to a hospital bed. By John Vibes, March 21, 2018. Chicago, Chicago police officer Carlisle Calhoun, 46, was accused of sexually assaulting a man in his custody, while the man was shackled to a hospital bed. Calhoun has been charged with aggravated criminal sexual assault and official misconduct. DNA evidence and photos that were taken from Calhoun's cell phone verify the victim's testimony. The victim, who was arrested on a misdemeanor charge, likely for some drug offense, says that after his arrest he was taken to a Southside hospital because he expressed suicidal thoughts. While he was held in custody at the hospital, his left hand and foot were handcuffed to a bed, and he was monitored by Calhoun and another officer. The victim says that at one point when the other officer left to take a lunch break, Calhoun began to massage the man's foot, and then began to suck on the man's toes. Then, Calhoun touched the man's genitals and took pictures of them with his cell phone. When the second officer came back, Calhoun then took the victim to a bathroom down the hall where he sexually assaulted him, and then took pictures of his genitals again. The victim says that during the whole encounter he was saying no and trying to get away, and as soon as Calhoun left, he told the staff what happened to him. DNA samples taken from the victim contained Calhoun's DNA, and when they searched the officer's cell phone they found revealing pictures of the victim. It is likely that Calhoun expected his victim to be an easy target because he was mentally unstable, and that no one would believe his side of the story over a cop, but luckily, in this case, there was proof. Calhoun's attorney, Tammy Wendt, had no defense for the officer's actions at the bond hearing, and attempted to use his position as a police officer in a plea to the judge for mercy. The Chicago Police Department told ABC 7 News that Calhoun was suspended without pay and stripped of his police powers. He was arrested on Monday and is still in custody on a $200,000 bail. If convicted, he could face anywhere between 15 and 45 years in prison. On a near-daily basis, a cop or former cop's face makes the local newspaper with whitewashed headlines like "Former Deputy Now Charged with Exploitation." Little attention is given to these stories despite the grim nature of them. For example, The aforementioned headline is from a small Minnesota town and involves a deputy who was arrested on multiple felony charges including child molestation, sexual misconduct with a child, and child exploitation. No one else picked up the story and it was swept under the rug. The disgusting crimes that lead to these headlines happen often and blow the myth of the bad apple theory completely out of the water. Recently, 2 NYPD cops' crimes were so bad they actually made national headlines when they were arrested for allegedly handcuffing an underage teen and brutally raping her in their van. As TFTP reported, officers who were allegedly acting on behalf of the rapist cops entered the rape victim's hospital room and threatened her if she came forward with her accusations. While the NYPD case garnered much needed attention, others go completely unnoticed. Cops sexually abusing children, women, and men is common and is a major problem. In 2014, TFTP put out a shocking report that highlighted 40 cops who were convicted or charged with spousal abuse, child rape, or other types of sex crimes just 30 days. In spite of the rampant abuse, police sexual misconduct still manages to escape the spotlight. According to a recent report by Newsweek, the reason is fairly simple: fear and intimidation. The victims have reason to be frightened and, at the very least, to doubt investigators will take them seriously. In many cases they are trafficked girls, women of color, prostitutes, undocumented workers or just poor. Those were the types of women abused, for example, by Oklahoma City officer Daniel Holtzclaw, who in 2016 was sentenced to 263 years in prison for rape and other sexual assaults involving 8 victims. Holtzclaw faced charges only after a 57-year-old grandmother accused him. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, IACP, the largest organization of police chiefs, is well aware of the problem, too. In 2011, a national working group it had convened published an executive guide for police chiefs, which read, "Law enforcement agencies and executives have a duty to prevent sexual victimization, to ensure it is not perpetrated by their officers, and to take every step possible to ensure the safety and dignity of everyone in the community." While independent researchers began tracking how many people are killed by cops every year, no one was tracking how many crimes were committed by cops. However, that is beginning to change, and the data shows that the problem is staggering. This case is evidence of it.
County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.